Ottawa's Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance partners have backed the Canadian investigation into these alleged links between New Delhi and the killing of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Meanwhile, Trudeau's leadership is now under scrutiny as Liberal MPs are collectively discussing the way forward while attempting to oust the extremely unpopular Prime Minister. Long-time Liberal MP Sean Casey has gone public with his criticism of Trudeau on all media platforms. He has said, and he's made it clear, that the message that I've been getting loud and clear and more strongly as time goes by is that it is time for Trudeau to go. That's the clear message coming in from several lawmakers within Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government. And in fact, let's quickly now get in the big questions that we are taking on the show, and then we come back and talk more in terms of getting in our experts as well. But before we get you this report, I want to first tell our viewers what exactly are the key questions that we are discussing. There you can see on your screens, why has Canada not made any evidence public so far? All one sees are charges and more charges, absolutely unsubstantiated. The second big question that we are asking is Trudeau really now attempting to just appease the Sikh community? Remember, they form about 2% of Canadian population. He's pretty much existing right now because of Jagdeep Singh's party so far, which is backed on Sikh separatist view. So is that essentially what Trudeau's game plan is? And the third key question that we are asking is, will the Five Eyes nations support Canada's unsubstantiated claims? Remember, India has been crying hoarse. Where's the proof? There is still no proof, and that hasn't been given so far to the Five Eyes country as well. It is not a PR exercise for Justin Trudeau. These are very serious allegations. He needs to come clean on the proof. And before we talk further and get in our panel of experts, take a look at this report that really sets the context of the charges that Canada has put on India and India's very strong rebuttal.
Steps that would have resulted in keeping Canadians safe, because that is our top priority. India, the Indian government, rejected those advances.
India has rejected Canadian PM Justin Trudeau's accusation that New Delhi did not cooperate in the probe into the killing of Canadian citizen and Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Sources in the Ministry of External Affairs say that from the very beginning, the Canadian approach has been to make vague accusations and put the burden of denial on India. Earlier, India decided to withdraw its High Commissioner in Canada, Sanjay Kumar Verma. This after Ottawa linked him and some other Indian diplomats to the Nijjar case. Sources in the ministry slammed Canada's bid to target Indian diplomats and said no specifics have been provided by the Canadian government. Trudeau is seeking another term as Canada's Prime Minister, but has recently faced one political setback after another. He has been repeatedly seen standing shoulder to shoulder with extremists and separatists, attending Khalistan rallies, terming all of this as free speech. He has also lost the support of his key ally, Jagmeet Singh, and on Tuesday, a Liberal MP publicly called for his resignation. There is a growing number of Liberal MPs who remain frustrated with Trudeau's leadership and lack of strategy in countering Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. According to a survey by global market research and public opinion firm Ipsos, only 26% people see Justin Trudeau as a good Prime Minister. Trudeau found himself to be 19% less than the leader of the Conservative Party. There are allegations that Trudeau has made these accusations against India to polarize the electorate while catering to his vote bank in order to cling to power, something that looks improbable at this point. With Vishal Vivek, Arjun Samar Mahindran for NDTV World.
Okay, so you heard both sides, charges, unsubstantiated, and the counter charges and the rebuttals that have come in by the Indian and the New Delhi side, really. Let's get in Virendra Gupta, who's former diplomat, joining me in fact from South Africa, and we have Daniel Portman, who's a Canadian journalist, joining me live from Toronto. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking out the time. Daniel, I know it's early morning for you, and let me start with you that in about an hour's time, it's expected that the Prime Minister will appear before the committee, and he will make what many people feel more unsubstantiated claims against India, because it's all about politics and nothing to do with actual investigation. Daniel?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Trudeau does what Justin Trudeau usually does, which is ramble on in sort of a self-aggrandizing way and, mishmash words together and then draw on his drama background to kind of sound tough here and there. But again, like Justin Trudeau, as you pointed out, is deeply, deeply unpopular within the country. He's skating on thin ice. The losing support from Jagmeet Singh, I think it is a bit of smoke and mirrors. He hasn't fully lost support. It was never an official coalition, but it kind of was a coalition. It's mostly political theater between those two. So you could say, okay, maybe Jagmeet is leveraging his power. And listen, Justin Trudeau has to make a choice if he wants to maintain power. He has two options. Okay, he has a minority government, and he needs to get over the threshold in a confidence vote. He can either get that from the NDP, which is now a Khalistani separatist party with some communist price controls thrown in, or he can get it from the actual separatist party in Canada, the French separatists, the Bloc Québécois. So he has to make one of these two parties happy to finish out his term for the next year. Is this what he's doing to placate Jagmeet? Maybe. Is this more a internal political calculation? You could see, again, he's facing a revolt within his own party. Sean Casey came out and said he has to go. Anthony Housefather says his leadership needs to be reviewed. There's apparently a list of signatures from Liberal MPs that spilled onto a second page asking him to resign. Yes. And again, he is facing a foreign interference scandal where we know there's 11 traitors in the Liberal Party currently sitting in government. Our security agencies say there's 11 people in the government right now who are assets of the CCP. And we haven't released that, and we haven't kicked them out because, that would be too dangerous. We got to be slow, and we can't.
So these are deflection tactics. These are deflection tactics.
Most likely. Most likely there's an element of deflection. It could be a lot of things. Again, there could be deflection. There could be political calculus. I think there's some pretty strident ideologues inside the Liberal Party, too. Again, this is a man who had some pretty hardcore Khalistanis with some pretty troubling family connections make up the core of his cabinet. And then, again, Jagmeet's an ideological Khalistani. Yes. Again, most left-wing, hard-left people in North America really hate Modi because they're told to. Modi's sort of the specter of big, evil,
I'll tell you what, Daniel, I'm going to come and ask you this. But let me just quickly get in Mr. Gupta as well, which is that, you can hate one individual as much, but you can't derail a very significant bilateral relationship at the level of the sovereign only based on either petty calculations, politically driven, or because of some personal animosity or some personal, perceptions of it. I'm going to come back and ask, but Mr. Gupta, your opening thoughts on the fact that more preposterous claims are likely to come out because of the fact that Justin Trudeau is going to appear before the committee soon.
Well, right from the beginning, last September, when Trudeau made that unsubstantiated assertion in the parliament, he got some shared intelligence from the other countries, fine, which is very routine for the Five Eyes countries to share intelligence amongst them. And even if that contention is right, then he should have shared that intelligence, the details of it, with the Indian authorities. I'm presuming that India and Canada enjoyed extremely good bilateral relations before that. So it is very common for friendly countries to tide over these difficulties and not take a knee-jerk reaction, a step to go ahead and make announcements in the parliament. And he's done something very similar to that, based on some preliminary reports, assertions by the police authorities. He's gone on to make his own press conference and talk
Right.
about the involvement of, which is very preposterous, and I think India's reaction is very, very legitimate and very right.
Daniel,
In fact,
then-
some people would have thought
Yes.
India would take a much strong.
Yeah, much stronger reaction New Delhi has taken because it has taken exception to the kind of commentary that has come in from Canada. Daniel, then let me ask you this, that these preposterous claims that New Delhi has rejected, it has all along said, where is the proof? And even now, with an hour to go before Mr. Trudeau appears in front of the committee and probably undertakes another exercise in deflecting the real issues, the fact is no proof has been given so far. So what happens to the investigation?
What happens to the investigation is, well, I mean, they have an ongoing investigation which lasts for years. They probably assume they're going to lose in a year anyway. The investigations can be ongoing. And then when Pierre Poilievre's the president, the investigations can either be shelved or completely fall apart. And then, right, if it's shown that the accusations were spurious and ridiculous, well, then that's Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party's problem. I'm out of here. Or if they're just ridiculous. I mean, Canada investigations are slow, and Trudeau has means of controlling the RCMP. You can delay this investigation until after the election. So you always have the excuse of, oh, we can't release information because an investigation is ongoing. I mean, this looks like this is political theater. There is if you're in Canada, there's a heavy smell of sort of a political operation being run, because again, the media has sort of been all given a talking point. And remember, Justin Trudeau paid $600 million, and then another, it's been over $1 billion Trudeau has invested to buy up legacy media. So we have the CBC, which is our state broadcaster, but then we also have CTV, Global News, and all these other TV networks that are now subsidized by the Liberal Party. So it's all CBC. You see now that there's sort of a direction being come down, and the coverage of this issue has sort of been, okay, you say this, and all these sort of networks are sort of following this pattern, which indicates that there is a political operation sort of being run in the country.
Political operation underway. Daniel, I'm going to keep coming back to you. In fact, after what Mr. Trudeau says, I'm sure India will reject those if there are any fresh charges, and we're going to have this conversation again. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for speaking to me on India Global.